Good evening, I'm David Brown and welcome to the Northern Sun Experience. Over the past several years, the NSIC Golf Championship has been split into two parts, a fall portion and a spring portion, consisting of 4 total rounds. But this season it took place over one weekend with just 3 rounds. Minnesota State has won the past 2 men's conference championships, and they were looking for a three-peat. Let's head out to Smithville, Missouri, and the Paradise Point Golf Complex. Beautiful weather from April 13th through the 15th. A reversal of the past couple of years. Rain has usually plagued the spring portion of the championships in recent memory, but nothing but sunshine on the course this past weekend. As far as individuals are concerned, this weekend belonged to Augustana's Parker Klitsky. The junior from Sioux Falls Lincoln High School was the only golfer out of 50 who participated to finish the tournament under par. Klitsky shot a 2 under 214 for the weekend, and afterwards he discussed how consistency in practice paid off.
It's been fun, we had good weather for once. I'm hitting the ball well, putting well, and so take advantage of good weather and just playing well. It feels good. It's something I've worked towards all this year. You put in the work for it, and seeing all your hard work pay off it's really satisfying.
Now, as far as the teams were concerned, Minnesota State once again rose to the top. The Mavericks won their 3rd straight team championship, and they did so in comeback fashion. MSU trailed Minot State by 2 strokes entering the final day, but collectively shot a 291 on Saturday to finish the 3-round tournament at 888. Minnesota State has now won 7 of the last 9 NSIC men's golf championships.
Feels great. This 3rd year in a row, we did it a little differently this year. Came from behind, and the boys just played phenomenally, and couldn't be more proud of them. Today, to go out and be the only team to shoot under 300 and only 3 over par for the day. Before the round, we talked about it, and everyone kind of just rallied around one another and supported one another. And each day we counted 4 different guys, so everyone participated, and they definitely did it for one another.
Here's your top 5 team finishers. Minnesota State, as I mentioned, finishes with a collective 888, 24 over par. St. Cloud State is second, 13 strokes behind at 901, 37 over par. Minot State, who led after the first 2 rounds, is third with a 39 over 903. Winona State and Augustana are 4th and 5th, respectively. As far as individuals are concerned, once again, the Vikings' Parker Klitsky is the NSIC's medalist as the only golfer to shoot under par, 2 under 214. Minnesota State's Ethan Kraus was second at 1 over par, 217. St. Cloud State's David Sharonbroich is third at 2 over. Minot State's Matthew Kreutz is 4th at 4 over. And the Mavericks' Kelton Schmitz is 5th at 5 over. Minnesota State as a team and Augie's Klitsky as the individual medalist both qualify for the NCAA Midwest Central Region Tournament, which will take place May 8th through the 10th at Awari Dunes in Axtell, Nebraska. We'll have highlights of the Women's NSIC Golf Championships next week. When we come back, Sioux Falls has been home to several NSIC and Division II championships over the past several years, and they'll be getting even more in the future. Find out what events are coming for the years 2018 through 2022 next.
The Northern Sun Experience on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back. Earlier this week, the NCAA announced the locations of a variety of different championships for the years 2018 through 2022. And Sioux Falls, home to 2 NSIC schools as well as several past Division II events, was rewarded with even more for the future. The Sioux Falls Sports Authority, in conjunction with the NSIC in Division II, along with the Summit League and the University of North Dakota in Division I, placed a total of 20 bids to host NCAA events in Sioux Falls. And in the end, the city got 2 Division II championships for the year 2020. NCAA Wrestling will come back to the Denny Sanford Premier Center on March 13th and 14th, 2020. The Denny previously hosted the 2016 National Championships. Meanwhile, NCAA Volleyball will also be returning to Sioux Falls at the Sanford Pentagon from December 10th through the 12th, 2020. Just like wrestling, Sioux Falls last hosted the Division II Volleyball Championships in 2016 when Concordia St. Paul won it all. Here's the director of the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau, Terry Schmidt, discussing the bids and aiming for more in the future.
I know that we will continue to go after even more tournaments in the future. We'll continue to all work together as we have in the past, and this will again elevate Sioux Falls even more and more out in the business community, the visitor community, and the quality of life community.
So once again, here's the event Sioux Falls won bids for, in addition to getting a Division I hockey regional for 2018 in conjunction with the University of North Dakota. The Division II events that pertain to the NSIC are the 2020 NCAA Wrestling Championships at the Denny Sanford Premier Center and the 2020 NCAA Volleyball Championships at the Sanford Pentagon. Well, speaking of volleyball, Wayne State has established itself as one of the preeminent programs not just in the NSIC, but in all of Division II. And the man who leads the Wildcats is showcased this week in the first of our two Under the Northern Sun alumni features.
Wayne State College is known in northeast Nebraska as being an institution that graduates quality teachers, educators, and coaches. One of those quality individuals has coached at Wayne State for the past 14 years and has turned the Wildcat volleyball program into one of the premier teams not only in the Northern Sun Conference, but the NCAA Central Region. Scott Kneifel is a native of Newcastle, Nebraska, and graduated from Wayne State in 1995, along with a master's degree from Wayne State in sport management in 2004. Kneifel reflects on what attracted him to Wayne State College as a student.
The small town feel was probably one of the biggest reasons I chose Wayne State as a student. It's a smaller sized town, but has a great feel, has the athletics, has all the great parts of a college. Mike Berry was here as a women's basketball coach, who's now an associate athletic director here, and he was a big influence on me. I took a coaching class with Coach Berry back in the day, and it really steered me towards coaching, and it worked out.
Kneifel adds that some of the same features that attracted him to Wayne and Wayne State as a student are some of the same qualities that he sells to athletes he's recruiting on his volleyball team today.
I think that it's a really great town to play in. The community, the support that we get from our community here is outstanding as far as the athletics goes and the college as a whole. The student body is excellent. There's a great fan base for Wildcat athletics, and it just makes it a great place to compete.
Wayne State continues to be a progressive campus with continuous upgrades and improvements. And Kneifel talks about how the look of campus has changed over the years.
It's phenomenal, the adjustments that Wayne State has made. The beautification projects around campus to, the athletic facilities to compete at the Division II level.
Kneifel coached at several high schools in Nebraska before returning to Wayne State in 2002, where he served as an assistant volleyball and track and field coach until being promoted head volleyball coach in 2004. He talks about what makes Wayne and Wayne State College such a special place.
I think the support from people around the area, downtown, that it's crucial to have their support. When you come to games and you see a packed gym, it changes everybody's perspective. It makes recruits want to play here. It's a great place to compete.
In his 12 years as head coach, Kneifel has led the Wildcats to over 300 wins and 10 NCAA tournament appearances in 11 years. Last season, Wayne State captured the NCAA Central Region title and advanced to the Final Four. He comments on what impact last year's success had on Wayne State and the Wayne community.
I think it was great for our program. It was great for our athletic department and our community. The support that we received on that run was phenomenal. It was a special year. It was a special time in our program's history, and it was just neat to see people come out of the woodworks to support the Wildcats. So it was a great year, and hopefully other teams and our program can replicate that.
Wayne State College has been a member of the Northern Sun Conference since 1999. And Kneifel talks about how Wayne State is a great fit for the league.
We really feel like it's the toughest, Division II conference in the country. The Northern Sun is an incredible league in all sports, and our sport, volleyball, it's the premier sport. So it makes it really exciting, and I think Wayne State's a great fit for the Northern Sun. The size of town, the fan base, all those little things that make the Northern Sun special, Wayne State has.
When we come back, we switch gears to baseball and highlight the NSIC's player and pitcher of the week. Welcome back to the Northern Sun Experience. Minnesota State continues to remain at the top of the NSIC baseball standings, but several teams have established themselves as worthy competition as we head down the home stretch of the season. That includes both Minot State and Augustana, who were each rewarded with weekly conference honors. The Beavers' Michael Borst is the NSIC Player of the Week. The sophomore batted .429 for the week, going 9 for 21 with 2 home runs, 2 triples, 15 RBI, and a .952 slugging percentage. Heading into this week, Bourse led the conference in total RBI with 49. And his bat was instrumental in leading Minot State to a 5-1 record last week, including the team's first series sweep of the season. The Beavers took 4 straight from Sioux Falls last Thursday and Friday. Bourse with an RBI single there. Sean Alp would also be helpful with a bases-clearing triple. Minot won their second game of Thursday's doubleheader 16-10. They scored 40 runs over the course of the 4-game series and will take on Minnesota Duluth on the road this weekend. The NSIC Pitcher of the Week, meanwhile, is Augustana's Jacob Blank. And at this point, it's comical how ironic his last name truly is. Blank threw his first career no-hitter against Minnesota Duluth on Saturday, striking out 9 and only allowing 2 walks. Blank is 8-0 this season and has yet to give up a run with a 0.00 ERA. Here are some highlights from Blank's no-no. Only real threat came in the second inning after a leadoff walk, but Blank gets Tyler Wojciechowski swinging to end it. Home half of the second, Blank would get all the run support he'd need. Zach Reek deep to left and gone just inside the foul pole. Solo shot gives Augustana a 1-0 lead. Third inning, Blank putting it on cruise control gets Kyle Hoffman looking at strike 3. And then Chase Thomas chasing the slider to end the inning. Fourth inning, number 4 goes down. Marco Lucarelli with a swing and a miss. And you know, every no-hitter usually has that one defensive play that keeps it intact. That would come in the 5th. High chop to third, Lucas Berry on the run. The throw to Tyler Field, some nice fielding there, keep the foot on the bag just enough. An absolutely clutch play by the Vikings infield. Bulldogs down to their last out in the 7th. Grant Farley pops it up to second, and that would do it. Jacob Blank blanks Minnesota Duluth 2-0 with his first career no-hitter. When we come back, our second Under the Northern Sun campus alumni feature focuses on Bemidji State. Welcome back to the Northern Sun Experience, where it's time once again to name 2 new members to the NSIC's 25th anniversary team. And it's only appropriate with Minnesota State winning its 3rd consecutive team golf championship that one of their components from the first of those 3 titles makes our list. Congrats to former Maverick golfer Ross Miller, who graduated in 2015, but was named the NSIC's Golfer of the Year in 2014 and 2013. And with the conference tennis championships coming up this weekend, it makes sense to congratulate former Winona State tennis player Michelle Bailey. A 2-time conference tournament MVP and 4-time conference player of the year, Bailey was also the 2006-2007 number 1 doubles champion and a 4-time number 1 singles champion. Well, earlier we showed you a feature on Wayne State volleyball coach Scott Kneifel, who stuck around his alma mater for his job. At Bemidji State, one of the football team's all-time greatest players also stuck around town, but in a far different field.
Ryan Welly was a wide receiver at Bemidji State University from 1998 to 2002. He left the Beaver football program as an all-conference honoree and the team's all-time single-season receiving yardage leader.
My role is I caught the ball, when it was thrown to me. That's about the extent of it, and fortunately I caught more than I dropped. But more importantly, what made us so strong is one, you have Eddie Acosta in the backfield. There's just a huge force and still holds every record imaginable for a running back by a lot. And so you have defenses that want to focus on him, but at the same time you have on wide receivers of Jason Ledeen, Ben Woodford, Jeff Rothman, that you have to respect because they can hurt you just as badly if you don't pay attention to them. So defenses, they wanted to focus on Eddie, but they couldn't cheat, So it just opens it up for everybody.
Willie was a part of the foundation of Beaver football and a member of the 2000 team that set the program's record for wins at 9.
When you win, and obviously life's always a lot more fun, but more than anything else, we just had some really fun teams, great group and collection of guys, great coaching staff. So it was, every day you're out there playing with your brothers, for lack of a better way of saying it, and putting up a lot of points and having success. So it was just a chance of a lifetime in a lot of ways.
Ryan he's just a good, hard-working kid, number 1, blue-collar type of mentality, and just was a leader even back when he was younger. Gave his heart and soul to the program and put the team first, just like you would expect a good leader to do.
Welly may not have been the most gifted student or athlete, but his work ethic set him apart.
Ryan was really motivated. I think he wasn't the highest regarded recruit probably, and if you look at the same time frame you had Eddie Acosta from the same high school. So by the time he got to be a senior, he was pretty close to equaling what Eddie was doing in the backfield, and really was probably a big reason why Eddie was able to get all those yards, because Ryan was blocking and doing some of the dirty work what we were doing back then.
There's no doubt Willie knew his role on the football field, but he also knew at an early age what his role in life would be.
My mom likes telling the story about when I was in preschool, right? So teachers going around and asking all the kids what their favorite toys are, and everyone's giving a candid answer of G.I. Joe or Barbie and this and other thing, and my response at that time was money. And so, finance and banking, it's been a part of the family, my family, for a long time. Great-grandfather was in banking, my dad's in banking, a number of uncles in banking, and it's just something that always intrigued me. I kind of told you about I always knew which direction I wanted to go and how that worked as a detriment to me at times. And so when I'm getting my general eds, it was one of those cases. I did not try that hard my first 2 years of college. And I was having some success on the field. But at the time, the offensive coordinator, who was kind of the academic advisor for the team as well, we're just kind of meeting one day and we're talking about it, and he was looking at my grades and goes, you're average. You're absolutely average. And as soon as you allow this mediocrity to creep into this side of your life, it's going to be that much easier to allow mediocrity to fall into the other side of your life. And at that point, it was a real eye-opening experience for me. Someone had never been that frank or blunt with me. And the first time anyone has ever really called me average, and the distaste that it created in my mouth, propelled me, I think, as an athlete to a whole nother level, but more importantly, as a student to a whole nother level. So, part of the success that we had, we were all also, we all knew we weren't going to be going on to the NFL or anything along those lines, but we wanted to be successful, we wanted to win, and so we were truly committed to the program. So it required a lot of attention and dedication to the craft, but at the same time knowing that we didn't have the luxury of playing on a Sunday, and so we had to focus on the studies as well.
As a member of a prominent family in a small community, there are those who may have expected Willie to jump into the family business right after graduation. But he had other plans. Just like on the football field, he was looking to prove himself.
I didn't want something to be given to me, right? And so, it was time for me to kind of go on and prove to myself that I could do the things that I always thought that I could. And so I took a different path, and I went out to Ann Arbor, Michigan, and tried to make it out there for a while. Following my girlfriend at the time, basically, and got into a job, but ultimately we wanted to get back into Minnesota, and so we ended up taking a job with U.S. Bank, and I was there for a few years, enrolled to get my MBA at the University of St. Thomas down there, and then shortly after that switched over to Bremer Bank. And when I left Bremer, roughly 6.5 years later, something like that, we left as a vice president of commercial lending. So had some success on my own, and at that time my wife and I were expecting our second kid and had the ideas of trying to get back to a smaller town, and then where is there an opportunity within a smaller town, and was fortunate enough that there was an opening back here in town with a cousin of mine looking to retire, and we decided to give it a shot. Always wanting to strive, always wanted to be competitive, always wanted to outdo the next guy is, I would say, honestly, the biggest thing that made me successful here as a student athlete as well as professionally.
It's fun to have that type of person run around in the community that you can not only talk football, but just he's a good friend and just a good person.
When we come back, softball highlights from around the diamond in the NSIC.
The Northern Sun Experience on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back. Just as Minnesota State leads the way in baseball, the Mavericks also lead the way in softball. And their superstar pitcher was honored by the conference once again. For the fourth time this season, MSU's Coley Reese was named the NSIC's Pitcher of the Week. In 5 appearances, Reese went 3-0 with a 0.00 ERA, striking out 30 batters in 18 1/3 innings. Overall, Reese is 20-2 this season, has won 9 consecutive starts, and recorded her team record 98th career win. On the other side, for the 3rd time this season, Augustana Sarah Kennedy is the NSIC Player of the Week. She had a ridiculous .652 last week with 15 hits, including 7 doubles and a home run with 8 RBI. Kennedy leads the NSIC in hits with 71, doubles with 22, home runs with 12, RBI with 46, and total bases with 131. Kennedy and Augustina capped their weekend with a sweep of MSU Moorhead. Here's Kennedy's home run from last week, solo shot to right in the top of the first. That gave the Vikings a 1-0 lead, and then a little bit of craziness in the second. Augie up 2-1 at this point, Samantha Eisenreich with the bunt. Abby Chandler is out at home, great play by the Dragons, but then catcher Savannah Tweet tries to get a double play at second. The ball goes into center field. Kara McDougal scores, and Eisenreich, who started the play, also comes all the way around. 4-1 at that point. The Vikings win 6-1. Augustina started the week just one game back of Minnesota State for the conference lead. Other highlights from the weekend included Minot State hosting Sioux Falls. Beavers playing well of late, including Clarissa Ramirez deep to left and gone. Minot State with a 1-0 lead. They would also get a complete game from Jen Spencer, just 1 run allowed on 3 hits with 7 strikeouts. 5-1 victory for the Beavers in Game 1, and a route to a sweep of the Cougars. Great battle on Friday between Minnesota Duluth and Upper Iowa. Bulldogs with some nice defense early. Check out the diving grab by Hannah Schmall in center. Defense was the name of the game, however. Scoreless until the 7th when the Peacocks pull through. Julia Buffington with the liner to right center. Jenny Buds on her horse, and she slides in just ahead of the tag. Upper Iowa with a 1-0 walk-off victory. Minnesota Duluth would take Game 2 on Friday, but a great win nevertheless for the Peacocks over the Bulldogs. Once again, a thank you to all of our NSIC member schools for their time, video, and contributions to this week's show. We'll have highlights of the NSIC Women's Golf Championships as well as the NSIC Women's Tennis Championships next week, so tune in for an all-new Northern Sun experience.